this meeting. And now you're all being recorded. All right, here we are.
Thank you.
Got it? Okay. So what I'm going to do, go ahead and click on speaker view for Leah demo so that it's big, and pin Leah demo. You won't be able to see me. You'll hear me on my other one, but this will, so that you can see me big. So I'm going to start by demoing what I want you to do. You can't, you guys aren't going to be able to see this as well. After I do a step, I'm going to have you, I'm going to put the share screen up and I'm going to have you try it. So don't, if you're having trouble seeing this, just watch me while I get started and then we'll go from there. Okay, so let's get going. All right, so one of the things that's really important with faces is to get a landscape of where things are, a kind of yardstick before we get started. I like to do this by defining, just like I like to do with figure drawing, by defining my vertical space. Wait, where's my person? So I'm going to sketch what I mean by that. So if I were to divide my face in half, right, my vertical distance of my face in half, and notice by my face, I don't mean where my hairline is. My face meaning where the top of my hair goes, because that's actually where the top of my skull is. If I were to divide this in half, let's just use a ruler so it's easy to see if I can read my ruler. No, it's not easy to see. Okay, I'm going to do this by a hand. I would see, I think, that the halfway point, yep, the halfway point is, notice, right between the eye line. Can you see that? So this is the halfway point.
Are you frozen?
Face. I shouldn't, oh, am I?
Yes.
I sure am. Don't know what's going on there. Here we go. Okay, got it. Yep, sorry about that, guys. Sometimes that happens. Okay, so the halfway point is very often, when you're looking at a face in front of you, an adult face, it's very often the eye line, the kind of middle of the eye line right here, okay? Not always, but very often. So I like to find the halfway point and then see where my eyes sit in relation to that. You will notice, if you've never drawn a face before, that the eyes are much lower than you think they are if you draw this way, and they're smaller, okay? I like to also find the halfway point. I like to find the quarter points too. And notice how I'm doing this. I'm kind of guessing where I think this is going to be, and then I'm checking. So I'm making a mark, holding my hands like this, keeping them the same and saying, is that the halfway point? This is a great quick way to learn how to do halfways, and that is the halfway point. So this is the 1/4. And then because I've marked the 1/4, I've already measured it, I know that I can just take this and go down to 3/4. Oops, wait, let me make sure I got that right. There we go. That's 3/4. And then I often, because I find it difficult to get the mouth in the right place, I will often actually measure the halfway point of this last quarter. That's not like saying there's 5 quarters in here. It just means that this last quarter, I might divide in half. Again, just to help me see, yeah, it comes down a little bit more. 1, 2, yep. So this is like halfway, right? So why do I do that? Because I can see that helps me define features. There's a couple of reasons to do that. I can see that the bottom of my mouth is right above that halfway point here. And I can see that the top of my mouth is kind of defined within this last quarter, right? So I know that if I'm going to put it there, I can see the bottom and the top fairly easily. I can see that my nose comes right above the 3/4 point. Sometimes the nose will sit kind of right on the 3/4 point, but the nose is usually contained in this halfway to 3/4 point. I can see where my eyes are. And we're going to see the importance of this quarter point here in a minute. So when I start drawing, I'm actually going to start. Yeah, I'm going to start. I'm using charcoal, by the way. You're welcome to use whatever drawing material you like. I'm randomly defining this line. You'll notice it's bigger than this because I want you guys to be able to see it. I don't need to measure. I don't need to get fancy about this. I know that if I find my halfway point, that my proportions will continue to be correct. So this is a key point in drawing and scaling up or down. And I've talked to you guys about a lot about it, but it's really important here. Here's my halfway. And then I'm going to find the halfway point here. I'm actually just going to mark these out. So I'm not drawing anything except for measurements. 2, 3, 4. So here's my top, here's my bottom, here, and then I'm going to divide this in half too. Okay. So hold on, because there's going to be one more measurement before you go. So before I draw a face, I get my vertical distance. I define my vertical distance, and I make sure that I kind of know the landscape. Now, I'm not always going to say that these things are always going to be exactly in this position, because it all depends on what position the head is in. But it never hurts to give yourself a vertical distance going down the middle of the face, and then to find the halfway points, the quarters, and use those to help you figure out where features lie. So the next line that is hugely important to do, and is one that people often miss, is this line, the width. So this is where people start to get into trouble. And I'm going to give you a surefire tip, right? And that is, has anybody heard the rule that the face is usually 5 eyes across? Have you heard that? Anyone heard that? Yeah? No?
Leah?
Okay. Yes.
Or you do not include the hair in that width?
I do include the hair. What
to the right, there's some missing.
I'm not, yes, because I'm actually including the tip of the ear to the tip of the ear.
Ah, okay. So
Yep. So have you guys heard that? So people often say if the face is 5 eyes across, and that is often very close to true. But where does that start and where does that end? If you'll see, if I were to, okay, so I have an eye here. It's a little bit hard to see. My eye is here and here. So if I go this way, look at that. That's about 1 eye length, right? But notice that the eye length goes from the edge of the eye to the tip of the ear. And that the middle, it's kind of halfway. It doesn't go to the edge of the skin, which is where a lot of people try to put it. I've even seen art books do that. So be aware that when we're drawing the width of something, we're actually talking about the entire, from the tip from ear to ear. So this is 1, 2, 3. Yep, there's always an eye width between each eye. Right. 3, 4. There's the other eye. 5. Okay, so often, because people know this rule about the eyes, they'll just start drawing eyes in and measuring. But we can't figure out how wide our eyes are, how big they are, until we define this length. So how do we define this length? I'm actually going to I'm going to mark out the length. Let's do it with my hand here because it's pretty easy. I'm going to mark out the length here with my hand. Can you see my thumb is here, my finger is here. And now I'm going to line it up with the vertical on my face. So can anybody notice a markable distance? How wide is my face?
2/3?
Yeah, no. There's actually
3/4.
Yeah, 3/4. It's almost at a little bit less than 3/4. It's almost at the 3/4 line. So I know when I come over here that I can actually just measure this. Let's see. That is about 17 and a half, 18. Let's say 18. I know that at the halfway point, what my width will be. I also know that in this particular position, the halves are fairly equal, right? This half is pretty much like that half. So I can divide that in half here. So now that I have this distance, I can then determine the width of the eyes. There are a couple of ways to do this. Basically, I need to divide this into 5 equal sections. And I can do that by eyeballing, by looking like this. So you see I'm marking, I'm guessing where I think it's going to be. And then I'm marking it in to see, is that going to work? Nope, it's going to need to be a little bit bigger than that. I can already tell. Because I know that like there's a halfway distance. I know that like there's an equal eye distance between the 2 eyes. So bring it out a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, 5. That's about right. Yep. So now, or you can measure this line with a ruler and then divide that by 5, and then just literally make your sections 5 across. So before we do anything else, oh, and we'll just lightly sketch in the eyes, although, right? Note that this is going to change. So does anybody have questions about that? I want you to do that. So let me put up the share screen with that. Oh, don't tell me it's not here. Hold on. I'm going to look.
Sorry for being late, Leah. Is that line across the middle? Is that the halfway point?
That's the halfway point. And it is the width, and I used it. I measured, Emma, I'll get you on the WhatsApp thread too. I measured by measuring here how wide this was, and then going up the face to see how far up the face it went. If you go up the face, you'll see it's about 3/4 of the vertical distance. So then I know how wide to make my face. Then I divided it into 5. And don't worry, Emma, I've got this recorded, so you guys will be able to review it later. So hold on, let me just find what I did with my, where are you? Desktop. Here we go. This photo is from a book I wrote called How to Draw Faces. And I use my own face because I know I'm not going to sue myself for using my photo in a book. So that's what you guys get to do. Here we are.
Leah,
Yes?
can I use a ruler for the entire process, like to make that first line and then,
Sure.
or should I just?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'm going to take a picture of this so you guys can see what's on my screen. Okay.
A really nice picture.
Thank you. I had a professional for time, and I was younger. As I told people, it's about 5 years old. So I was younger and thinner. You know how it goes. So here is the short picture. Wait, I want to make sure I've got Emma on here too. Is there anybody else that joined late that I need to add into the WhatsApp thread? I think I got you all. Okay, hang on.
By the way, I thought we were doing a cat today, so I was a bit confused.
No, that's tomorrow. Europe is faces. What was Europe? Block 2 is faces. Block 4, which are the Friday classes, is going to be a cat.
So next week.
Yeah, next week.
Okay, so
You
then
do
I'm
the
going to get the
kitchen.
boys. I'm going to get the boys on that because
Yeah. Get the boys on the Friday classes. I think they'll really like them. Get the boys on the Friday classes. That's that because India started later. What was India Block 4 started later. I'm just keeping that a little. We're doing more beginning. I'm just sort of using that as an opportunity to add, not get so intense with the lessons. All right, let's see. In here. And I know this is a little bit difficult. It's hard to keep track of everything, but I appreciate your guys' trying. Okay, so here is, I'm sending across the measurements that I've drawn on the face. And here is my drawing. So this is where I want you to start. So it is a bit like figure drawing. If you want to, you guys can send me pictures now, or you can send me pictures later. I'll keep my phone up so you can take a look. It is interesting, like how this is a very different way of drawing, but it's also pretty close to how I wanted you to work with the figure. So I feel like we have some experience with this. And what is really great about drawing faces is regardless of how fast you go with it, or how slow, or how much you pick up, this is going to help you with proportional drawing, which is what you're going to be doing everywhere else, which is how big do I make this, once I establish a distance, how do I use that to create my proportions everywhere else? And I'm just going to go get a little bit of tea, you guys. I'll be right back.
Are we just now drawing Leah? Is that the plan?
Yes, that's
Right
fine.
now, yes. Well, did you hear the directions? I asked you to recreate what, I'm not asking you to draw a face yet. I'm asking you to draw this grid the way I just demoed it. So I don't want you drawing a shape of a face. You're doing a grid where you're defining the halfway point, the 3/4 points, and then you're trying to get that width correct. That's all you're doing right now. So yeah, you're going to draw me, but I don't want you launching in to draw me until you get you know that you've got things in the right places.
Yeah, that was quite intimidating, thinking I just should start.
Yes, so take a look, Emma, at I've just sent you the demo of what I've done so far.
Yeah, I've got it.
Take a look at that. Yeah, take a look. Yes, I have taken into account that some of you have never done this before, and some of you are pretty good and are trying to improve. And believe me, all of you will find this a little torturous, but that's okay. You will, one day, you're going to thank me for showing you how to actually handle faces in an accurate way. Because I'm not necessarily sure there are plenty of people who teach that well, but it's hard to kind of come up with a system, and I'm trying to give you one. So each week for the next 4 weeks, I'm going to give you a different face, and we're going to recreate this structure so that you get a little bit of practice in doing it. And I think, like I said, since block 1, block 2, and block 3 are all doing portraiture, that I'm going to switch up the portraits so that you can go to the YouTube page and watch the video if you want to have more practice for a class that you can't or don't attend.
Do all faces follow the same rule?
That's a great question. Mostly, yes. 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 Yeah. All of our faces, all of our proportion. 1 second, honey, and I'll be right with you. All of our proportion. This is an important point. All of our features sit in virtually the same places, and the difference between us is millimeters. It's less. So yeah, these are good rules, but having said that, it depends, of course, on what position the face is looking at you. Some things are tweaked, but yes, in general, everybody's, and if you look at your own face, everybody's adult face will have these same or very similar proportions. Yes, what was the next question?
Yeah, I'm just struggling to understand again, how do we measure the width of the face?
Okay. I'm going to review it. I'm going to review it again. So take a look at Leah demo, right? Find the little, oh, wait, sorry, put it up. I'm going to measure it again. I know this is a tricky thing to, hold on. Zoom up. I'm going to review this one more time so that you're clear. This is a proportional, can you all see me now? If you can find my little box, my Leah demo box. So this is a proportional measurement, right? Once you've established your vertical distance you're going to go to the halfway point and you're going to draw a line going through the middle of the eyes from the tip of one ear to the tip of the other ear. That is going to be your vertical distance. Okay? And then you're going to measure this vertical distance the way I'm doing with my finger right now, or the fingers right now, or what you can do with the ruler if you want. And I'm comparing it to see how far up the face it goes to figure out its width. See this? And if you do that, you will see that the width of this is about 3/4, a little bit less than 3/4 of my vertical distance of my face. So then I can come here and use this distance, this 3/4 distance to measure the width. Okay. It's a proportional measurement. And this is how you should be drawing everything. But it's a tricky one to wrap your mind around because you want to do halfway points and blah, blah, blah. But it's a proportional measurement. It all depends on how big this is to see how big this is. But we do know that 3/4 of the way, and this is a key thing to understand because about drawing, this is how everything is met. This is how we draw everything. This is how we should draw everything. Define a distance and then start checking everything based on that original set of points. But it's hard to wrap your mind around it. So just do your best.
Sorry? Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm trying to put my fingers on this, like little bit.
Use your pencil. Use your pencil. Use a ruler if it's hard to keep your hands straight. You can use a ruler or a pencil like this. Yeah. It's funny how the tools work. I use my hands a lot. You'll see artists who use their hands a lot. Once you draw enough, you get a little bit better at kind of eyeballing where you think something should be. So you feel a little bit more confident about laying a mark down and then correcting it. But Diana will tell you that last night I was on a painkiller because I'm getting a tooth pulled in a day. And last night halfway through my drawing, I realized that my measurements were wrong. So I had to go back and reset everything. Watch the video, it's all there. So you'll see that the great thing about this method is that once it's ingrained in you, it becomes way easier to correct. So it's easy to kind of fall off it, even for me. Especially for me. All right. Does anybody want me to look at if you want me to look at your measurement, we can. When you guys are ready, let me know and we'll go to the next step.
I'm ready.
Okay. Everybody else ready to move to the next step?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So let me
I've sent you my measurement on the WhatsApp.
Okay. I'll take a look in a mo. I'm going to demo the next step now. Let me pull the share down. Okay. So go ahead and click on speaker view. Oh, whoa. That's crazy. You guys could have told me it was totally out of whack. Here we are. Okay, so the next step, there are some other universal things, and I'm so glad you brought that up because yes, there are some universal things about the face that are really helpful to know, particularly from this face forward position. We can see them very clearly. I'm gonna sketch them in so you can see them. I'm drawing back in the edges of things that have been obscured by the lines that we've drawn. Or you know what, forget that. We'll just go to another one. Totally helpful. All right, so there are a few things that are universally true about face measurements. One is that the nose is kind of lined up. If the nose is facing forward, these two little side lines that are at the bottom, side of the nose. Here. Let me sketch these in so you can see them. Use an orange so that you can see them better. So they're here and they're here, right? This is the width of the nose really lines up with the tear duct of the eye, so the corner of each eye. So I know how, once I figure out where my eyes are, I know where to line up my nose. The next thing is that this dark line in the middle of the mouth, this one here that divides the upper and the lower lip, it extends, it kind of stops here, here on this side. Notice it lines up with the middle to the edge of the iris. So those things are also virtually always true.
And Leah, do we assume that the iris is in the middle of that?
I would not
space for the
assume
eye?
anything. I mean, what I would do is look at your two triangles, right? And yes, yes, basically, you assume that. But we'll get to, when we draw eyes, when we get to the details of eyes, I'll show you how to think about it. What you're looking at, of course, is how much is like white spotted, you know, what's the white triangle in here and what's the white triangle there. But yeah, you basically assume if a person is looking forward, you can assume that it's in the middle of the eye. And you can see here, and this line is, so those things are almost always true. So when I'm deciding, and I've already got my two eyes here, right? So when I'm deciding, I don't have any details in of these eyes yet. We're going to talk about eyes a little bit later. But I can see, if I go back here, I can see that my nose comes right above the 3/4 point. So I can mark the base of the nose here, right? Just a little bit above the 3/4 point. And I can see that these lines come, they're about here, and they're a little bit higher than the bottom point of the nose, which will lead me to the discussion, which we'll get into in greater detail, of the two types of noses as taught to me by my friend Lado Pochwa when I was first learning portraiture a long time ago. It's hilarious. There are foxes and there are pigs, but we will talk about that later. Yeah, he's Georgian. Yeah. And I also know if I go back here, right? If I go back here, I know that this middle line between, I kind of know the start and end of this middle line, because I know that my mouth, the bottom of my mouth ends here. And I know that the top of the mouth is probably here, right? So I can draw that middle line of my mouth. Here, go ahead and we'll put our two irises in. I can draw, where is it? The middle line of my mouth out to here and here. So those are useful things to know. Notice, I do not want to see any drawings at this point coming back to me with lines like this for the nose. Get rid of those. That is not how we draw noses. The nose is very subtle. Most of it is done via shading. So we will talk about features, but I want you to like notice these things. So go ahead and try that, guys. Get these lines.
So, Leah, I'm lost about how the mouth is, because in the last quarter, we divided the last quarter and it's sort of in between.
Yes, there's a halfway
Okay.
point of the last, so the bottom of the mouth sits in the at the halfway point of the last quarter.
Got it.
The bottom, yep. So this is, you know, this now this drawing is starting to look like a little bit like, I don't know, a slee stack or something. It's not really looking like me yet, but that is okay. So go ahead and add these in as best as you can using our measurements tools. Yes, let me know when you guys are done and we'll move on to the next. We'll go to the outer shape of the face. Let's go with this. Notice I have about 5 copies of the face because I notice at different points I like to emphasize different things. Sometimes my initial lines will get in the way. All right. Okay. Let me show you a couple of other things that are helpful to remember. If you come back here to this original 5 eyes across, you will see that like there is an eye to the left and to the right of each eye length. But that is not the edge of the skin, right? It's not where the skull it meets. This is actually where the ear ends. So I can see that really in this particular position, about halfway through this distance is where the edge of the face comes into play. So I'm marking a little halfway point, maybe a little bit here. And I'm also marking kind of where my ear goes. I can get the kind of outer shape of my ear. My ear goes pretty high. You can see it, the ear goes up here at its highest point, kind of above my eye, lined up with the base of my, and if you'll notice the lowest point, right, it comes at the it lines up at the 3/4 point. So I know that my ear, even though this feels impossible, here's my 3/4 point, my ear comes all the way down here. So I'm just, although I'm not drawing the actual shape of the ear, and on this side, I can't really see the top of the ear, but I can assume that the proportions are similar. Notice I'm just going.
The top of the ear,
Yep, that's the top of the ear, and that's the top of the ear, and that's the bottom of the ear. So we haven't got the shape in yet because remember, we're just marking stuff out. We're creating a map.
And the eyes, the left eye is a bit smaller, or it just looks like it?
No, left eye isn't smaller. It looks like that because it's dark, because you're not seeing as much detail.
Oh, sorry, I'm looking at the drawing actually, and I'm like, there's like two little lines, and I'm lost between them.
What are you lost by, hon? I mean, what are you lost by? This is about, they should be the same size. The shape should be the same size. So
when you divide this horizontal line into 5 pieces, like 2 of them are actually eyes.
Yes.
Like literally.
Yeah, like literally. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So literally 2
maths, you know.
Yeah, this is maths. I told you this is really hard. It's totally hard. But once you get it, it becomes like, that's why I want to introduce this and keep asking the questions. And there is an equal eye width, right, between each eye. And there's an eye width on either side of the eye. So we know that if we've got 5 eyes across, it's 1, 2, and 4. Space 2 and 4 are where the eyes go. Don't get too caught up in what I've got here right now because it's going to change. I'm just kind of, the eyes are the same size. So I'm just trying to create a map of where things are before I actually get into the details of the face. And our desire to want to like get to those details quicker is always what gets us into trouble with drawing. It's interesting. All right, so now I think we're ready to get to the shape of the face, which I'm going to sketch in here. There's the inner shape of the face, and then there's the outer shape. There's the hair shape. And then there's the neck. As you can see. So I don't want to see any of this, none of this when you're doing hair. Okay, that is not how hair, can you guys see that? Or wait, it looks a little bit bright over here. No hair looking like this. Hair is just darker or lighter shapes in blocks. And all of this hair is darker than my skin, most of my skin tone. So, and in fact, hair is very often, unless you've got gray hair is very often darker in a lot of places than the skin tone, unless, yes. So if I'm trying to determine where to start this area, I can go to my halfway point and see, and split that in half. You can see that like my hairline starts kind of halfway between the quarter and the top of the head. So I can mark that here. That's where I'm going to put this point. And then I can draw a line kind of across to that top area. And then I can draw With a line coming down like this. I may play with this shape, but that is essentially the inside of the face that we're drawing. Do the same thing on the other side. Yeah.
Becoming to look like a human.
A sort of an egg-headed human, right? And then it comes down like this, right? I have a slight. Don't get too caught up in those curves of me yet, because it's easy to exaggerate curves. So I'm more kind of looking at direction. And then I can see that there's this kind of diagonal straight line down that comes a little bit below. It goes kind of straight to here, just below the mouth. And then it comes in, right? And then there's a little, I have a square face, so that's really funny at this point. It looks hilarious. It looks hilarious at this point, right? And I can also see that my neck kind of lines up with the outer edge. Necks are much thicker than we think they are. So neck lines up with the outer edge of the eye on each side. Yep. So I can line that up here and about here. So you see how I'm always asking you to check on something that you've defined. And then of course, on this side, there's this kind of poof. Notice I'm not drawing everything all at once. Oops. Oh, I can see. Here, there's a little poof that comes over my ear. A kind of poof like that. And then there's a little bit of hair coming down. I have a little bit of hair coming out around the back of the ear. And then it kind of dips down like this. Oh, there we go. Now it doesn't look quite so absurd. Right. And then on the other side as well, this kind of comes down like this, comes right over the edge of the outer, comes a little bit farther than the outer ear, and continues to come down until it kind of bounces up on my shoulders. So that's really, and then I can sketch in the ear, right? And my ear in this case kind of comes in. I think it's about here. This ear comes out a little bit farther because my head is actually not totally straight, it's partly turned. So there you go. You guys want me to put up, I'll take pictures of this, but you want me to put up the share screen and try yourself?
Well, I was doing it as you were doing it.
All right, so let's do it again. Let's try it. Take a look and do a little bit of measuring. I'm going to take this picture, and Sandra, you can send yours to me if you want to, and I'll take a look at it.
Okay, doesn't look like you yet, Leah.
I will not be offended if it does not look like me. I think you guys are so brave to do this. I honestly do. I think this is the thing that gets hard. And as Anita said, it's math. It's math. So I'm sorry there. But it's more proportional. It's more like geography math than anything else. It's not the word.
It's almost like technical drawing for now.
It is technical drawing. Because if we don't get these things right from the get-go, here we go. Okay, so this is coming. And then this is coming. Let's see. So you can sort of see the sketches that I'm making on the face.
The face looks too round the way I did it.
Let me see.
Okay, send it
over. Send it over. Yeah, so often, Sandra, we've gotta like kind of correct in here. Like this comes in more than we think it is. So there are a couple of tricks I can show you for getting this the right shape. I will show you when you send it. I may not even have it right myself.
It looks terrible. I would look at it for a camera.
Oh yeah, that's way too wide.
So starting from the top.
And the eyes are way too big. They're one, two, three, four. So just checking. They're too wide. Yeah, they're in the right places, but they are too. They're too large. They're too large.
I'll make them smaller.
Too wide. Yes, we do not have kitty eyes. Also, notice, Sandra, that my hairline is thicker here than you have it. So you have yours, if you want to go back, oops, wait. So here, I'll point here. So you have the hairline in like this, and
Right.
it comes down like that. So on both sides, it's wider than you have it. It takes up more of the forehead. So that's part of the issue. And then what you did, I'm going to point this out, is you went like this diagonally when you got to the bottom of the ear. Notice this is a straight line.
Ah, but that's going to make it
So
even
that's-
wider.
Well, no, we got to check a couple things. So one of the things we're going to check as you bring the face in, this is kind of coming in at a diagonal, is I like to use the nose, which I've now established, to see how many widths, if I were to measure from here to here, and then see how many noses I am to the edge of the face, it's one nose width. So if you look at yours, you'll see. So if you measure this, I can show you how to do this later. I'll show you actually
Okay.
on the screen.
I'm bringing
But-
the face in anyway.
Yeah, bring the face in. I was looking at mine on this side. On this side, I had not brought my face in enough, so I need to kind of bring it in. Yep. So
I'm
there's,
struggling here with the ears again. Like, I don't.
why don't
I
you
don't-
just take a picture and send it to me instead of trying to describe it? It's gonna be easier.
Just, I don't really have it. I just have those two dots on like the, you know, end of each, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, send it over. Ani, that looks good. The mouth line is a little bit too long, so nip it in on both sides, but I like it. Shape is coming.
Oh yeah, but looks more like you.
Face may be a little bit wide, although, Ani, my face is a little bit wide. Okay, so I'll show you guys, actually.
Yeah, I know. I noticed that basically.
Yeah,
I
so
should
let me
measure the
show you.
nose.
I'm gonna go back onto, okay, Anita, what you have to do, I'm gonna put on my, you're missing a step is what's happening. So let me go back and I'll review that. Let me put my Zoom back on, my demo. I think this is gonna resolve a lot of what's going on with you guys. And like I said, totally, like, can you guys see that now? Can you see my Zoom screen? Here, hold on, let me take this
We
down
can
for
see
a
the
minute.
clean picture.
Let me tell you. All right.
Oh, okay.
So let me address a couple of things. It's very easy for people to make, here, I'll put this back where it was, even at me, to make this part too wide. So one of the things I like to do is check on my source and see, here, I want you guys to see this really clearly. I'm gonna mark it here. Now that I've established a nose length that makes sense, it's like even brighter so you can see it, right? I can use this to go straight across and see how wide is my face at this point. And you're gonna see on either side, my face is one nose width wide, which means you need to bring in the side of the face. So on this side, I'm pretty good. But on this side, do you see? I have my face too wide. I have it out here. So I'm erasing.
A little more, isn't it? It's like,
Yeah. It's one nose width. That's all I'm gonna say. All you need to think about is it's a nose width thing.
And this is starting from the eyes where we establish it's half an eye from the edge of the eye to the
Yes,
skull.
so that's where, Anita, that's where you're getting stuck. Let me show you where you are. You need to define in half the eye, so the eye width on the left and the eye width on the right, you need to find the halfway point. Okay, and the halfway point is, and one half of that halfway point, see, it's easier to show you than to try to describe it. And half of that halfway point, I'm going to put this up so you can see it. This half is the skin of the face, and this half is the ear. So mentally, I think the problem that you're having is you're imagining the edge of the face ending here, and really the edge of the face from this line ends with the tip of the ear.
Like we were going from the top of the ear was like the,
Yeah,
so it was, yeah, oh my God.
I got you. So
Different
that's the mental, right? So that's the mental shift. So it's really great because this is what's happening. We have mental shifts in ID. This is our left brain jumping in and telling you something is happening that is not happening, right? So you've got to like get your head around, okay, what exactly am I measuring? Where am I measuring to? And the 5 eyes across measure works really well, but you've got to realize it takes in the ear, the tips of the ears, so that you get the outer tip of the ear as well. So that's ways, so here you can do this measurement. You can also take the eye and measure as well, like how many eye spaces is it from the mouth to here, right? So if I look here and I take an eye, I can see that it's a little bit less than 1 eye space from the edge of my mouth to here. So look, I need to bring this in even more. Okay, so even I, who have done this and should know my own damn face, right? So there we go. Now we're starting to get, so that's what I mean by we're getting these lines in and then we're kind of carving our way. Carving our way into a face. And it's important for me to get that square, if you're trying to get me to get that square chin, there we go. And I mean, yet still, I have this kind of wide face. So, right, so I'm pulling, so we're shaping, we're reshaping. And I haven't even got to talk to you about eyes yet and how to draw eyes. We're gonna get to that next, and the nose and the mouth. But that's how we start to correct the face. We lay these things out and then we're like, oh, okay, let me adjust this. So I think the thing that trips people up about this inner face line is that it comes in and more at an angle than you think. Starting to look human. In fact, it still feels a little, I think I need to bring my ear down a little bit more. Yeah. All right, do you guys want me to talk to you while you're doing this adjusting about eyes? Let me demo how to do an eye and the nose and the mouth. I'm going to show you a couple of things about the eyes, and nose, and the mouth. I'm actually going to put this out of the way so that I can demo it really big. Because eyes, as we know, are kind of where we get a lot of our detail. And know that your eyes are going to be a lot smaller than this. I'm going to demo this big so we can really see it. Okay, so when you're drawing the eye, our sort of fantasy idea, the what do we call it? The primitive way that a kid draws eyes when we're little, some of us don't get out of it, is this. It's kind of an almond shape, top and bottom. I draw the iris as a big round circle. I draw the pupil as a black dot. I do these spiky things. Remember this? You guys remember this? And then the coup de grace is, particularly if I'm a girl, I do this. Right? So that is like the kid's way we think about the eye. In reality, the eye has a much different shape. It's kind of curved on the top, and it's virtually straight on the bottom.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. Also, we don't see the whole iris unless our eyes are really wide. We see just these 2 curved lines. And here, Sandra, is where you'll look and see, okay, how much wide, what is the shape here and what is the shape here, to kind of figure out how wide and exactly what shape to make your iris. That's essentially it. This is a kind of uniform eye. And the difference in eyes comes in 2 places. It comes in the upper lid line. Now my upper lid line and how much, and the eyebrow, meaning my upper lid line, and in fact, this is actually worth, here, I'm going to turn on my camera for a second. I'm going to pull down. I want you to, let's go into gallery view for a second. I want you to look I want everybody to put their eyes forward. Linda, stop hiding behind your glasses and in the dark. Sandra, take your glasses off. Ani, take your glasses off. I want you guys to look close. And I want you to see that in my particular case, the upper lid is very here, or if you want to, you can click on speaker view as I'm talking to someone. So let's look at Linda's eyes. Okay, great, Linda, wonderful. So if you look at Linda's eyes, look at speaker view, you can really see it. So, oh, beautiful eyes, wonderfully beautiful eyes. So notice that her upper lid line comes fairly close. There's a little bit of skin, right, between her upper lash line and her upper lid line, but it rides pretty close to the top of her upper lash line. And then she has this space of skin between that upper lid line and the eyebrow. Okay, now look at mine. I am the opposite here. So come look at Leah Kohlenberg. I've turned on my video for this. Wait, let me get back to it so I can show you myself. Where am I? Dang it. I don't see why I'm not seeing myself. Can you guys see me? There we go. Okay. Yes. So click on speaker view so you can see me. If you'll notice my upper lid line, it rises high above my eye. Can you see that? Look at how much higher above it rises than Linda's. And on top of that, my eyebrow sits virtually right on top of it. There's very little skin that you can see in between people. So those shapes, this one, and this one, are the things that make the difference between people, and they're significant. So we think it's this huge thing, but really it's just this tiny little line. Does it sit here? Let's see, let's look at somebody else's. Sandra, let's look at your eyes. Go to Sandra. Yep, Sandra also has eyes that, look at her upper lid line. So that gives you a very beautiful kind of, that's what your eyes are very expressive. And you know that it gives you a wide open eye look, right? Because her upper lid line is almost right up against this line here is right up against her upper lash line. And notice she's got less space, right, between the skin here and the eyebrow shape. And look at the eyebrow shape, very different than Linda's or mine, right? So these are the key differences between people. This is absolutely one of the things that makes everybody, so this is where we pay attention. We pay attention to that upper lid line, how much space we see, if any, between the upper lash line. And then we pay attention to this, how much skin and what is the shape of the skin that I see between the upper lid line and the eyebrow. And then of course, what is the eyebrow shape? So let's go back to, go ahead and pin up Leah demo. In my particular case, right, my eye, if I can remember correctly, my lid kind of goes up like this. And then it comes down like that. And then my eyebrow sits kind of right on top of it. Kind of bushy eyebrows. Take after my dad. This way. My eyebrow sits down kind of right on top of it. Like that. And it comes out actually further. Okay? So when I'm starting to sketch in shape, this is what I'm thinking about. So a couple of more tips about eyes before we get even more complex. The iris, oh yes, and here we also want to sketch in the tear duct, right? Which is kind of a darker line here and kind of a middle gray line here. So the iris, everybody's iris has a darker line around the edge of it than in the center of the eye. And it doesn't matter what color your eyes are. It doesn't matter if they're blue, they're black, they're brown, they're green. Everybody's iris has a slightly darker rim, so we make that darker. As dark as you would make the pupil in the center. And then instead of this spiky thing that happens with the eye, here's what actually happens. No matter what color your iris, the top part of the iris is always darker. It's not as dark as the edge. So I'm always distinguishing the edge and the pupil. But it's always darker on the top. Now I'm going to take my eraser and I'm going to add in a little light spot. Can everybody see that there's a light spot? If you look at your eye, there's always this little light spot right here. And then directly below, it's lighter. So this is how we create a sense of depth with the eye. So see, as I'm transitioning down, I'm making my top area, and I'm erasing out or marking out with my pencil that little blick there. This is darker, and the reason this is darker is that it's covered by, it's shaded by the upper lashes, the lashes. So, and that's not only happening on the eye itself, it's also the iris, it's also happening on the white. So you can do that on the white as well, kind of make it a little bit grayer here at the top and at the bottom, right? And leave that, that can be a little bit. And then the last thing to know about the eye is that this, no, that's not true. It's not the last thing. Another thing to know about the eye is that this area is, the bottom lid is very light, actually. So I try not to actually draw it all the way in. I don't draw it with this strong line like that. I actually soften that. And I draw instead the lower lid line, which is a little bit kind of like that. Because really, this area is lighter because it's turned towards the light. And then the last thing to know about the eye is that instead of drawing each individual eyelash, it's just kind of the upper eyelash, it just kind of gets a little bit thicker here. Almost like a little arrow sign, and it kind of fades away here. So we don't draw separate lashes unless somebody has those crazy, ridiculous lashes on. We draw these, and look at how that eye has kind of come about, right? How it's become. So that's eyes. Does anybody want to try to do that with the eyes, or do you want me to talk about nose and mouth and then let you go for it?
I think maybe do the eyes first.
Yes, okay, so go ahead and start working on the eyes. So notice you in here, you have not sketched out your upper, you need to sketch out your upper lid line. You need to make sure you've got this shape right. So let's see. I'll just do one here.
Is it like you made it?
Yeah.
To the left?
Yeah, pretty much.
This is very difficult.
It is. If you came at the beginning of the lesson, you would hear that I said this is the most difficult thing you'll ever do. And I invited beginners to try it, but I want you to just do the best you can. It is really difficult. It's the most difficult thing you'll do. However, there are references to it in every other lesson that we do, so it's really worth trying. And there's a lot of info. Yes, there's a lot of information to kind of retain. I agree.
Have you taken the picture somewhere? I can't see it.
I'm doing I'm just finishing the demo so you guys can see it.
Sorry.
Yeah, and then I'll put the picture back up. So I'm actually using a charcoal. I think I'm probably making my. Actually, I need to look at my eye now to make sure I've got it right. So I'm actually using a charcoal pencil to kind of get.
A pencil, you mean the kind of compressed thing you told us not to use?
No, I just said this is a charcoal pencil. We've never actually brought it into the scheme of things.
Oh.
So, but yes, in general, what I don't ask you not to use, what kind of needs to be done in this part of the lesson, because when you're working with charcoal, it's really
I must say
hard.
it's a bit messy.
It's messy and it's hard to get that kind of detail that you want. So I'm using the charcoal whenever I can. So here's the dark blick. Here I'm going to leave a little eraser. I'm going to try and leave out I'm going to blend it around.
Got one eye.
Right?
Should I send you the one eye?
No, keep working.
Okay.
I want to see them all. I want to see everything. And then the more important thing is to get that eyebrow shape on top. So that's kind of what you're going for, guys. Very briefly, quickly. I don't think I've got it totally right here, so I'll muck around with it a little bit more. Let's do that. Let me give you. Do it. Yeah, it's hard. Definitely. I started this lesson saying this is hard. But
Face's proportion is also not coming up too well, actually.
so you should take a picture and send it over to me. I can probably tell you where you went off.
Leah, I sent you a latest one with the corrections.
Are you having problems with it or?
Yeah, I just wanted you to take a look once.
All right, let me do that. Let me take a look. I'm gonna pull the thing down. Okay, let's see. Yes. Rashmi, it's not bad. I would say the face is too wide.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna point. Here, this comes more at an angle down.
Yeah.
See
Yeah.
that? So carve that in a little bit more. And
Contouring,
soften. Yeah. It's actually not so bad though. Not too bad at all.
Linda's is beautiful.
Your eyes are a little bit wide, meaning
Okay.
too tall.
Yeah.
Okay, Emma.
Yeah, I'll fix it. Yeah, I'll just
Good,
fix
Emma. Looking good, honey. Very good. Excellent. I know it's really frustrating because to this point, it kind of feels like. Emma, move the neckline. Move the neck on this side in just a bit. See how it lines up? So you got your neck just a little bit too wide. Otherwise, very nice. Good job, guys. Good job. Yep, Linda, great. Yeah, and look at Linda's. When you get structure right, look at when you get proportions right, you can already see my face starting to come out. And that's okay if like the rest of you haven't. I mean, you know, this is, don't worry, it will come. But there's nothing, this is just a better, there's just no better lesson than this for teaching you how to be precise, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, hi. The line that you have told us, you know, the lower quarter. I
Yes.
think that the space between the nose and that particular line is too wide in coming in my this thing.
Is this needy? Is that needy?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
let me look. I'm looking at it right now. I don't know. I think it looks.
I think it's too wide.
Oh,
I'm
no,
not
you mean the line. No, the line's
Yeah.
okay. Believe it or not, the line's okay. When you're gonna want to redraw the eyes in the actual shape they are. Oh, the eyes look funny though. Here, hold on, let me check this. 1, 2. So, Needy, I would say your eyes are basically the right width, but they're too tall. So I would say minimize the eyes, like reduce those lines of the eyes, and you will see, this is good actually. Believe it or not, it's right.
It's right?
It's right.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm not satisfied with the lines below the nose, actually.
You don't know yet because you haven't put everything down. You won't really know until you get further along in the drawing. So know that you don't know how to judge it until you can see all the other pieces in place. So start with getting the pieces in place, get the outer shape of the face, get like those things going, and then you'll be able to see where things start and end. And minimize those eyes. They're a little too tall. So start with that.
Actually, okay.
Yeah, start with that. Everybody always makes the eyes too big and the ears too small. It's a really common. You guys are doing great, by the way. As I'm saying, nope, yes, no, yep, nope, it's good. And that's why these videos are really important, because I think there's a lot of information here. It's easy to get overwhelmed. I want you to have a second chance to pick it up and see. So when you're ready, I will talk to you, whenever anybody's ready, I will talk to you about noses and mouths, because there's just a few tips about noses and mouths. And then we'll go to, then we'll go to shading, which is the key part where things really start to come together.
Leah, I'm going to send you what I have. Still doesn't look like you.
Probably not there. I think I can help you.
Thank you.
It's because your eyes are too high up the face, Sandra. You're not at the halfway point.
Oh, but I measured everything.
Nope, nope, nope. If you go to the top of the head, look, you'll see.
So I've got the line still, like in the middle line, and that should be where the pupil runs. Is that right?
Yeah.
You're right, it's higher.
Yes. Yes, you have it too high. You've brought that, well, just adjust the chin up. Find the halfway point. Find the halfway point. Sandra, look up here. Find the halfway point from here to here, and then go down to the halfway point, and that's where the end of the face is. You've extended it way longer. You have it down here. That's the problem. Are you thinking about
you mean
the
I made the
top
face too long?
Yes, the face is too long.
And yet I spent hours measuring.
Well, because yes, anyway.
You're right.
Yep. So you need to bring and that means everything comes up. It means the nose comes up. It means the mouth comes up, because those measures aren't correct.
Leah, can you send us the picture where you drew the eyes?
Absolutely.
The last step. Yeah.
Do you want to see the big one and the little one? Yeah. I can give you the big one and the little one.
Thanks.
Anik, nice. Anik, nice. I would say my eyebrows are much thicker than that.
Yeah, I'm waiting for shading to make them thicker.
No, just do that now. You can do that now. Don't worry about the shading. And also, I feel like my eyes are a little too wide. And I feel like if you look at so here's what's happening, Anik. It's a pretty nuanced thing. If you look here on the light side, you can really see it. You have my eyes extending all the way out here. And really notice they come in more, and this shape is really, so tweak that shape and know that the same thing is happening on this side. You just can't see it as well because it's dark. It's darker. Hold on, I'm there. Hold on, Rashmi, I'm almost there. Here we go. All right, here's the big eye. Okay. Yes, Tony, totally. And Tony, I'll do that right. I'll do that next. Wait, actually, I'll do that before. Is there anybody else who's not on the WhatsApp group that I need to add in? And this is something that you can, like I said, if you've missed it, you'll be able to watch it in a couple of hours when I manage to get it converted and then upload it onto YouTube. So I'm going to send this again. And then I'll take a picture of this. I don't think I haven't had as much time to work on mine yet, so I don't think I totally got mine right, but I think if you guys want to see how this looks in the scheme of things, there you go. Okay. Good job. You guys are doing great. And over as you're working. This is such a dense lesson. So like I said, don't worry if you're not getting it all. You can watch the video over again. I'm going to be reviewing this similar construction on 4 different faces, and then another 4 in classes that you're not in. So you can watch the videos and get practice at seeing how this works. That's all I want you guys to have, is the practice. You see why I never teach this right away. No, nobody would do it. is what is nice about the face is there's a lot of things to grab onto. There's a lot of measurements we can grab onto as we're going forward that make it easier in that way. I wouldn't say it's easy. Just say there's things we can grab onto. And when you're ready to talk about nose and face, you know what, Annika, I'm gonna send you shading now so you can get started. And then you can add in features as we go. Here, I've got a little shading chart. Looks a little bit like this. So I'm gonna send that across the WhatsApp thread. Although for some reason, come on, there we go. So there we go. Here, this is from my book, which you can buy if you want. There. All right, Anik, there you go. There's the shading map of the face. And the only thing that's wrong about it is for some reason, I have the neck shadow is switched. So don't ignore the neck shadow, but you can see the planes of the face. Anywhere that's outlined, you don't, and I've really chopped them up, like, you know, it's almost like a block. So that's what you're working from. You can go ahead and do that. All right, I want to talk briefly about nose and mouth and then shading. So I want you guys to take a break wherever you're at so that I can review these things. And then let's go, and then you'll go on to working. So come on, I'm going to pull the share down. Oh, go away there. Okay, I'm going to pull the share down for just one more minute to talk about the face shape, the final features, and just a few tips to know about the final features. Okay, so I'm going to briefly talk about the difference between foxes and pig noses, which is what my friend Lana, when I was living in Budapest, I was studying with one of my best friends, is an artist there. He's in Brooklyn, but that's where we met. And Lotto is Georgian and has a very traditional training. So he had a lot of strong training that I lacked. And he said to me one day, Leah, here's the thing about faces and noses. There are people with pig noses where the nose goes straight across and you can see more of the nostril. And there are people like fox noses. You and me, we are foxes, right? So what does that mean? That means that for some people, and I'm going to come over here and sketch this big, right? The sides of the nose kind of line up with the nostrils and the bottom of the nose, right? That's a quote unquote pig nose. Some people, like me, have a fox nose, and that means that these lines actually rise above. Can you see that? See the difference in the shape? These lines rise above the bottom, and there's a little diagonal there. In either case, when you're sketching the nose, all we're really interested in sketching feature-wise in strong lines is this bottom shape, these side lines and the bottom shape. And we are, even if you think you can see the nostrils, you are de-emphasizing them. If you draw them too big, if they draw them too strongly, you know, too dark and heavy like this, it looks like doesn't look like a person, right? It looks exaggerated. So you're going to de-emphasize the dark areas of the nose. It's going to be a tiny little thin line like this. In my case, you can kind of barely see it, but you can kind of. We are not drawing any of these lines up. Okay, you're going to do this with shading. What you are going to do is shade the bottom of the nose. From about here to here, the nose is shaded. We have this Martin Luther King one that I did with the people last night. You guys should definitely check out that video. He's got just beautiful sort of variety of shading on his nose. From here down, it's shaded, and then there's the shade, the cast shadow of the nose, right, which is pretty strong. Then the thing to know about the mouth is that this upper lip is always darker. There's a couple of things to know about the mouth. So let me put this up so I can see the mouth again. There's a couple of things to know about the mouth. One is that people often, so here's the middle line, right, that goes from edge to edge. People often draw the upper lip like this to that very edge. And that always makes the lips too big. So in reality, if you look closely, you'll see that this dark line continues a little bit beyond the meat of the lip. In my case, it kind of goes up a little bit on this side. It kind of stops here, about there. And then the dark line continues. And that's because there's a hinge between the upper jawline and the lower jawline, and that's where you see it. That's where you see this kind of little dent in here and the dimple, right? So the other thing to know about the lips is that the upper lip is always darker. If you look on this, you'll see that's very true. Lower lip is always lighter. That's because the lower lip is, and this isn't right because I've made this too big. See, I'm working with a clunky charcoal and I can't get the delicacy of the line that I want. I might go in with a pencil and see if I can get better. Right? The lower lip is facing up towards the light, and the upper lip is always facing down. So the upper lip is always darker than the lower lip. And then the last thing that's really key, and it shows up in every portrait you'll see, you'll really notice it. It doesn't matter what your skin color is, there's a little light. When you're adding in the shading, you're gonna reserve a little light line that goes over the edge of the top of the upper lip. And that's this little edge that's light because it's poking up towards the light. And then there's the dark here. So the last thing you guys are gonna see is something that I've just sent over on the text thread. It's the shading of the face. And you'll notice that pretty much every area, so most of you are gonna do your shading of the nose using this instead of strong lines. So you'll see that the kind of dark side of the face kind of comes like this. There's a light area kind of in the center of the nose and then dark. Right, so this is all going to be done with very soft lines. Let me see if I can sketch this in so you can really see. There's a lot of dark in the face. Look, even in that forehead area up here. And down here, across. The bridge of the nose has a certain shape. Notice that though there is a light and a dark side of the nose, dark side of the face, there are still lighter and darker, the darker and lighter patterns still follow. So see, I'm kind of sketching it in so you can see it. But you've also got it. So as you're sketching it, and go ahead and make that hair really dark.
You've turned into a robot, Leah.
I have? Oh, that sometimes happens. Am I back to normal now?
No, the picture looks like a robot.
Oh, yeah. The picture looks like a robot. Totally, it does. It totally does. Or I like to say a diamond. You know, it has this kind of like, yeah, robotic or a diamond. Right? So make the hair dark. And then you're, of course, going to make these lines disappear as you start adding shading in. Right? You're going to make this softer. I know, it's really crazy, isn't it? What we do to create ourselves, to recreate ourselves, is so different. Yeah, you can just keep it right there. Yeah, you look totally like the board. That's awesome. And notice, I'm not doing strands of hair. I'm just kind of making my hair dark. And there's a couple of areas where it's a little bit lighter. Yeah, it does look really weird. I kind of gotta keep it like that. I might keep it like that. All right, so let me put that up. I'll take pictures of it, but I'm gonna put it up. I'm gonna put up the face so you can see it again. Yeah, so many things. You know, it's
What's the width of the mouth? What's the line? Is that the iris?
the line goes kind of to the middle. Well, check it and see on the picture. You can hold your pencil up, but it should line up kind of with the middle. Should line up about here, where I've got the pointer. I'll keep working for a little bit. Just, although this is funny as heck, I don't really like the look of it. You'll notice that the ears, get that hair in dark, because the ears are going to be dark, but not as dark as your hair, right? Not as dark as my hair. Nothing's really, no skin color really is as dark as the hair, unless it's unless it's gray hair. But we're not going to talk about that now. Maybe. I know that she has to go up a little hair. Oh, yep, now this needs to come here lower. So it's real easy to get off on the measurements, and that's why we're kind of continue to come back to them. I have my nose a little bit too high there. Didn't quite have the right shape. I had a little bit too round. The robots. So true. There's a section in my book where I have you put planes on your own face to really emphasize shading. And it looks very robotic and really cool and quite weird. I'm continuing to work on mine, if anybody wants to watch, but you're probably more interested in my own process, but
Does that look weird? Yes, yes, it does.
I
was talking about my own one.
Leah?
Oh, now it's better.
Leah, this
Yes.
is amazing timing because Oscar's homework for this week is drawing a self-portrait. So he's
Oh,
doing
you're kidding. Awesome.
He's doing
Awesome.
himself.
Awesome.
Here.
Wonderful. All right. Excellent. Boy, that's a tough assignment. That's not an easy.
I know. I don't know. Have they given you any like basic instructions?
No, it was, you weren't exactly, this wasn't what you're supposed to do.
Right. You're supposed to do a kind of expressive. I get you. You're supposed to do kind of an expressive self-portrait, right?
Yeah, more like that.
Yeah. I gotcha. So you'll just come in and shock them. They'll be like, whoa, put that kid in art school. You'll notice, I think the most profound thing that I learned about faces is that the difference between us is so small that it throws into question all of our value judgments about faces. Like, who is pretty and who is ugly? Like, the difference between that, you know, people who are handsome or people who are good looking and people who aren't is very small.
It's just makeup.
It's or nothing. Yeah. Or it's like, I mean, you know, you look at like, we were drawing Martin Luther King last night, who's just got wonderful features, really good looking man. I think that every time I draw him, I'm like, geez, what a good looking man. Yep, that's pretty good. And yet, yeah, like, what's the difference really?
What should I do? Like,
Why don't you show it to, do you want to send it to Leah?
Why don't you send it to me and maybe I can give you some suggestions.
Shall I send it with you next to the actual photo he's drawing?
Yes, please.
It's actually good because the photo that I'm drawing, the face is exactly 10 centimeters, and on the A4 it's exactly 20.
Perfect. So you can just kind of use your ruler to get those, make sure you've got those right. Good. Hey, when it works out like that, that's great. It doesn't always work out like that, but when it does, it's awesome.
And also, I'm not shading yet because I'm supposed to do it with color pens, and I wanted to do the pencil lines first.
You should do a robotic face. There we go. Now my face is starting to come out. Okay. Let's see. Let us see.
You going out?
Oscar, your hair is much longer now.
Yes. Anik, looking good. Coming along. Oh, cool. That's actually turning out pretty well. So you're in a 3/4 pose. I'm just checking your proportions, but you'll notice 1, 2. But the halfway thing still stands. That's pretty good. It's good, dude. You did a good job. I'll tell you what else you did a good job of. So one of the things you're going to notice is that the left side of your face is smaller than the right side of your face. Can you see that? If you were to draw a line down the middle, the nose on the left side is a slightly different shape than the nose on the right side and smaller. The mouth. So you've done a pretty good job. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. So what are you? Oh, put your shoulder on your left right next to your neckline where your chin is. Can you see how high up that is? So that'll partly help you show the position that you're holding your head. So I'm talking, can you see what I'm saying, Oscar?
Shoulders.
Yes. See how the shoulder on the left side comes right up and meets the chin and the neck.
Yeah.
So you want to draw that line there, and then you'll get the kind of dip of the shoulder, the angle of the shoulder on the right side. So add your shirt in. I think it's going to help you get more. And then you can see really clearly your shading on the face. Look at how the whole right side of you is shaded, and look at where that stops. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Yep, it's good. And even though your hair is blonde, it is still darker than your skin. Can you also see that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Except for
it to me like your ear is. No, it's all pretty good shape. It's all in pretty good shape. I'm wondering if your nose is a little bit long. You know, your nose is a little bit, and so your mouth as well. Your nose and your mouth are down a little bit too far.
Okay.
I would bring your nose up a bit and your mouth up a bit, and that's going to help you. There's a little bit more space under your chin than you've got right now. Linda, good. Yep. Good.
Leah, could you please share the photograph where you have marked the black dark spaces?
Didn't I do that? Oh,
yes.
I thought I
The
did.
shading, you mean?
Yeah, it's not there in the WhatsApp actually.
It's on the trail.
now.
Is, I can redo it again. Yes, let me do it again. Maybe I didn't. Oh, I might have started to add somebody and then forgot to do that part here. Hold on, I took pictures. Oh no, did I not take pictures? Wait, who are you? Oh shoot, you know what? Unfortunately, I did not take a picture of that and I've half erased it. So you've got the actual thing from my book. You'll need to use that. And I'll take a picture of where I am right now because I'm working halfway through. Oh, there you go, Diana. That works. Yep, making his shoulder bigger. Totally worked. Here. I'll send you where I am. I'm kind of in middle stage right now.
Oh, it looks fantastic.
And Diana, you were totally right. I love, Diana, your midtones are just stellar. They're so stellar.
We'll see where we end up.
They're just wonderful. They're the thing I love the best about your painting. I'm like, the way you put in those midtones is the little splashes of lavender and turquoise and sort of sea foam green. I just love it. It's so, they're really lovely. They really convey a lot. Anik, coming along. Eyebrows are thicker, Anik. My eyebrows are thicker.
Yes, I'm trying to.
I know you want to. I know you want to. You see, and this is interesting. This brings us to and I still think you've got my eyes coming too wide. I think you need to cut them in a little bit more.
Sorry, that's a compliment. Take it.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. I love the shading in the neck, Ani, by the way. It's lovely.
Thank you. You know, I have, the last time I was drawing the face of any face, it was like 15 years ago.
Are you feeling any of it come back?
I'm super scared because I was so bad in noses.
Noses are hard. It's because you do too much. It's because you do too much, right? We do too much with the noses. We overdraw them when we shouldn't. That's the tricky part.
And I think that the nose is also the place where exactly the brain, the left brain kicks in, because we know that it's protruding.
Yes.
We want to have it there.
Yeah, and you don't really know what's happening, right? You don't really, yes, exactly. There's a foreshortening happening. And really that's shown by the shading on the bottom part of the nose. We can't see the foreshortening.
So Leah, I'm going to send you this, but you look horrendous.
Don't worry, I will not take offense. Tweet, 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 tweet. I'm still working on my face too, by the way, the one that I'm drawing. So
I think I better stick to animal faces.
You've made the mouth too. Okay, so you've made the mouth too wide, and it's down too low. The mouth is down too low. Okay. So it's too wide across you don't really have any of the shapes happening that are actually happening. So first of all, the line of the mouth lines up with the middle of the iris. But second of all, that mouth has to move up a couple millimeters at least. So that'll help.
Thank you.
Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Tony, you drew me with a pig nose. I have a box nose. You drew me with you need to remember, the lines of the face, the lines of the nose here are up above. If I were to draw a line straight across, this line is above the bottom of the nose.
Okay.
Yep.
Hello?
Yes.
Okay.
As Sandra, take heart. This is just hard. Like, it's just a different anatomy. It's a different physiognomy. And there's a lot more nuance to the human face than there is to animal faces, frankly, because of our skeletal structure.
I suppose when you butcher up an animal that badly, It still looks like an animal.
Because there's less nuance.
Yeah.
Because the structure is different. So this is good practice for you because it'll help you understand where actually things are, you know, like for you, the only issues you have are drawing problems. Your color sense is brilliant, right? Your pastel, you have a sense of value that's really strong. It's your drawing that you struggle with, and this is going to help you with it. So you really need to push. I encourage you to keep doing this and pushing yourself to see where these, look at the spaces around. Needy, not too bad. Bring my mouth up. It's a little bit higher. Wait, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, the mouth goes up high.
Okay.
The mouth needs to go up higher, but not too bad. Needy, these lines that you've added in around the nose and the lines that lead to the mouth, those are actually blocks of shading. So I'd rather see you try to block those in. Yeah, don't you think? Oscar, that's great. It's excellent. So I want to point out one more thing about dealing with teeth, right, and the face. So let's see. Oscar, can you take a look at Leah demo? I'm going to show you. Can you find it on the little screen there? I don't want to pull down the face right now. But if you can see Leah demo, I'm going to show you something about open mouths.
Share across the back.
If you go to Leah demo, you'll see. All right, let's see if we can draw this. So the thing about teeth, you know what? Wait a minute. I might have something in my book on this. You notice I keep hinting. I've got a book you guys can buy. These things. Mostly I make it, but let me take a picture of this and you can see how the teeth are handled. So the trick with the teeth is to do less. Just like with the nose, it's less hard lines and more shading. So I'm going to take a picture of this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying not to do shading yet so that I can do it with the color things, which is what they asked me to do.
I just want to show you what I mean by the mouth. You're going to want to remove some of those pencil lines. And I'll just take a picture and you can try and copy. This is it. All right. You guys are doing awesome. Awesome. Here you go. Take a look. So you'll see that with the mouth, it's less teeth lines and more kind of shading.
You're frozen, Leah demo.
Yeah, but you don't have to look at Leah demo. I just sent you something on WhatsApp.
Oh.
Yep. Take a look at WhatsApp. I'm frozen because this is a really good drawing, though, Oscar. I have to say, you did a really good job.
Okay, I see it.
Yep. So take a look. When the mouth is open and smiling, we don't draw all the teeth lines. We just draw the sort of top edges. Really, I'm just drawing the shape of the gum. Oops. It says my internet connection is unstable. I don't really know why, so things might go hinky for a second. Let's see here. And you're just doing sort of dark areas around the corners of the mouth. So look at where the shading is on the mouth. But anyway, pull back some of those teeth lines and it'll look less gruesome. You know what I mean? It's like nostril lines. Less is more. Okay, I'm probably gonna pull my zoom. I'm gonna drop out of the, take Leo demo off Zoom. I'm gonna leave the meeting here so that I can focus on your guys' work. But so Rashmi, everything is a little too big. Everything's too big. Look at the shape. Look at how much space is between here and here. Look at how light, look at how much space there is shape-wise between your features. You've made my eyes way too big. They're way too wide. There should be one eye space between each eye, between the eyes. You have about half an eye space. So you need to bring everything back in. And yeah. Everything is smaller. It's so interesting. Everything is smaller than you think. The things that are bigger are smaller, and the things that are smaller are bigger.
Yeah, I'll just fix it.
Yeah. Tony, I would highly recommend, because you like process and method, that you go back and listen to this lesson and try it over again, because there's a lot of stuff you missed that I think you will find particularly helpful.
I'll do that.
Yeah. So it's good to try it, but then do it again.
That's a Washington bird.
Oh, lovely.
I really like the Washington birds.
They definitely have a lot going on. There you go. Nice, Anik. Now I can feel a little bit. You see how you get those eyebrows right? There's a kind of, it's interesting. There are some people who would say this is that I have a slightly, so I don't know. I have no issue with this. It is described as a feminine trait that there is space between the eyebrow and the upper lid line, right? The higher your eyebrows go up your forehead, the more feminine it looks. I think it's interesting that I have these like heavy eyebrows that sit right on my upper lid line. And I think that is true, and it's a slightly masculine, or I don't know. I know everybody under the 30 is probably non-binary these days and doesn't think in terms of masculine and feminine, but old ladies like me think about male or female or masculine or feminine. But getting that really helps get my face, how I look. So don't forget, Anik, the shading on the top here and over. That's pretty key too. Neck is great. Looks good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. And everyone, don't be discouraged if you don't get everything, don't get it right this time. Everyone is approaching this from different angles. Ani, did you find the instruction helpful in helping you to get back into drawing?
Yes, very. I mean, all what you do is basically great because I never had a proper teacher. I was just basically drawing because it's in my family. My mom was to draw and stuff like that. By the way, she's a mathematician.
Ha! Of course, that makes sense. There is a mathematical precision to drawing that I totally believe is there. Yeah, so so anyway.
Really eye-opening, and I'm really looking forward to classes on color because that was always something that I was doing in, like, you know, intuition was leading me there.
Yes.
And sometimes it was working, sometimes not. So
well, you will be excited about this. Block 3, which I don't think you'll be able to catch because it's at, I don't know, like midnight or 1 o'clock your time. But block 3 classes, I'm going to start offering watercolor in the next month. So I encourage any of you to go to the Roaming Studio, go to the YouTube page, and I'll try to download as many of those as possible. So if you want to jump in and work with color, you can do it. Like you can start working with watercolor. I know watercolor is your thing. So we'll be starting with watercolor soon, and I'm probably going to stay with them for a while on that. In fact, it's so funny. Before all of this happened, I was scheduled to go to New York and teach a watercolor class, a workshop at the Times Square office in April, which of course did not happen. And at the time I thought, oh, it's so hard to teach like watercolor online. But then since then, I've been teaching watercolor online, and I'm like, oh my God, it's so much easier to teach watercolor online. So I've developed this whole new, like, it's funny what you think you can and you can't do.
Yep. I think this strange year of 2020 taught us a lot.
Yeah. What did it teach? What did it teach you? You feel?
I mean, I had to basically put up everything that we train online in a matter of a week or two. So it's possible.
Yeah, it's possible. It's more intuitive than we think.
The other lines.
Yeah.
You guys are doing great. So great. Needy, I want to give you credit. You are very new to this, and I think you're doing really great. I just want to tell you that. I'm super impressed. This is super hard. And the great thing is that everything after this will feel much easier. You're pushing forward very fast, and I'm impressed. And I don't know if you've noticed, Needy, but I do have a bunch of the beginning drawing lessons up on the YouTube channel now. So you should feel free to go and look at any of those.
Yeah, sure. I want to learn how to use charcoal. Actually, I've ordered one for myself, but I don't know how to use it.
I've got, Emma, coming along. So Emma, just notice that, not bad. So I would say the mouth is too far down. You need to bring it up. Yep, mouth is definitely too far down. So bring up the mouth, and I'm gonna point here. Look at the shape here, Emma, it's a little bit more square, so that my hair comes out a little bit more and then goes straight down. You've kind of gone at a diagonal, but that's not actually what's happening. It's kind of comes out a little bit more. I like I love the little, you got my little wrinkle lines. I love that. Also look at, Emma, and these are just sort of so minor adjustable things. So you can move the mouth up fairly easily and make the eyes a little bit, this eye on this side I think is okay, could be a little bit narrow, but look at the shape. Look at how much space is, so how much skin is between the edge of the eye and the hair line. There's more there than you've left room for. And that's very easy to get to, dark and light. And also my jaw, these are all just small things. My jaw comes out kind of over, wider than my neck. So it doesn't come straight down. It kind of comes out and in like this. So yeah, great work, really wonderful work. You guys are killing it. I see great learning. Wait till we do 4, we'll do 4 of these. And wait till you see the difference. By the end, this one is the hardest one, I think, for everybody, because there's so much. Once you get used to the construction, it gets a lot easier. And you will be surprised at how much you grow in 4 lessons. But wherever you start and wherever you end. And if it makes you guys feel better, I was just working on a portrait commission, and it took me forever to get the mouth in the right place. And I know all these measurements. It took a long time. I often put the mouth too low. And even though I know I do this, I still do it. And I have to catch myself and redo it. So don't feel like these mistakes are like things that you necessarily, I mean, they're just part of the learning process. It's really easy to make things too big. I kind of strangely like this one. I've done this lesson 2 times now, so I've returned to this old version of my face, and kind of fascinating to see how different it turns out each time. Also doing it more than once, there's a lot that changes. So, yeah, there we go. Nice. All right, Anik, I like that. I feel like this is not only do I love the proportions, not only do I feel it looks like me, there's something a little bit like superhero about it.
Wonder Woman.
I love it.
I think this face is tilted, right? The face is not correct.
But it's
There's
is
something
that
wrong.
needy? But you're much
Yeah.
closer. You're much closer. Way closer. My jawline, there's I'm gonna point here so you can see. This is a flat line. I don't come down in a point. I don't have a heart-shaped face. My face
Yeah.
is flat. So you can start by doing that. I don't know. I think it's really good for a first attempt. 1, 2. Yep, I'm looking. Yep. The mouth is you have my mouth kind of going at an angle a little bit. It is actually straight across.
Oh, it's straight.
Yeah, it's straight.
What?
Much better, Rashmi. You're getting there. You might be finding, Rashmi, that it's hard to control, get the level of detail that you want with the charcoal. So you can either go to pencil or maybe get yourself a charcoal pencil so that you can do a little bit of detail, more detail.
I have a charcoal pencil. It's somehow not working on this newspaper print. I don't know why. It's not giving me
it
those
just
lines.
isn't like, it just isn't,
So
believe it or
that's
not,
why I was,
so believe it or not, the eye on the left still needs to be shortened. It's too wide.
Yeah.
So
I can
erase
see
that
when
out.
you take a
And
picture,
and you've got my mouth as kind of a smush. So
because I'm not able to define that with charcoal. I'll try to.
Why don't you use an eraser? Why don't you draw it and then use the eraser? So draw with your eraser. Yeah, try that. But good. Good corrections. Good corrections. Very admirable.
Thanks.
It's really hard to draw your teacher. I'd say that is really a not fair thing to ask. But I like this photo because it's I specially ordered this photo so I could teach this
Very nice
lesson.
picture. Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, she did a good job. A long time ago. It helps. And also then I never age, you know what I mean? I look at it and it feels like I published this book in 2016, a really long time ago. Feels like lots of things have changed. My instruction has nuanced quite a bit. So as I've had to learn as a teacher, you kind of have to learn how are students comprehending and how are they not. And since I've written the book and taught more, I've been like, oh, okay, I can see here's where people struggle. And I've had to change my instruction a bit just to help.
Leah, what's the book called?
It's called The Roaming Studio Step-by-Step Guide to Drawing Faces, and it's on Amazon.
Leah, I sent you mine. It's not flattering, to say the least. And yeah, I did struggle a bit because it's charcoal.
And were you using a pen? Were you going back and forth between a pencil?
A bit. I tried to redo the mouth in.
Yeah.
So it's not
better. Yeah. Nose is too wide, and I feel like the nose is too wide. It needs to come in a little bit and up a little bit. And the mouth, the mouth is just you just, the mouth is just not, let's see, 1, 2, 3. So yes, so what happens, Sandra, when you brought this in is that the nose needs to come up higher than the 3/4 line. It's just higher, so that's part of the issue. And the mouth needs to come up too. So try it again, or keep going, or, you know,
I'm not
go
gonna
to
try
the
it
next
again.
one and do the next one that we do. But be aware that those are the issues. Oh, Anita,
But
not
the nose
bad.
is too low, did you say?
The nose is too low and the mouth is too low. Let's see,
Okay.
1, 2. So Anita, you drew me with a pig nose. In reality, my nose is more, look at that shape. It's really more like a bird flying.
Linda, I did.
And my mouth, and the mouth needs to come up just a little bit higher. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I mean, those
Come up a little bit.
the toughest part because
Yeah, that's everything. But that's everything in drawing, right? People are always like, let me show you, show me how to draw faces. And I'm like, I don't know if you want to know. It's all about proportions.
I'm not sure I want to know now.
I think you'll do fine. I think you can do fine. So I would say my nose shape, that does not look like my nose, and the mouth is too wide and needs to come up a little bit. Other than that, you got the shape of my chin. Look at how much chin there is below the mouth. So you should be paying attention to that shape, right? How much is there? Bring that mouth up. That's going to help a lot. Oh, Linda, nice, very nice. I feel like, so here's really interesting. We've had a couple of really successful portraits come out of this class. And notice what different emotions they convey. I like this one, Linda, because I look a little fragile, which I like. I think that's really lovely. It's the way you're doing your lines. It's the way you're doing your shading. And if you look at Onyx, I look like Wonder Woman, like bam, bam. So it's like interesting. And you both got it. And you both got the proportions. So notice this about expression. I feel like we often, as we're drawing, put a little bit of ourselves, how we are feeling, into our drawings of other people. I used to hear one of my Armenian friends who taught me a lot about portraiture said, yeah, the first few hundred portraits you draw, they're all you, really. Just like you can't help it. You put and when I looked at my first portraits, I was like, oh my God, every single one of these has something of me in it. So I love it. I mean, I just think that's wonderful. And look at how different they are. Look at the different emotions they convey. And that is really special. Like, that is kind of I'm glad that we have Onyx and Linda's to look at, to really see. And Emma's is getting there as well. Where you can, once you get to likeness, look at how differently we can do this. Diana, would you take a picture of your painting that you did and send it across? So that I saw the one that you did, the painting of me that you did in the first session. Here's a painted version that also has a kind of, once you get the perspective in, yep, there we go. So there's another way of kind of doing this piece expressively. So once you get things in the right places, then there's room to explore. Really good work. Oh my God. I know. I said the same thing, Linda. I said the exact same thing. Absolutely. All right. So we are 10 minutes over. I'm going to stop the recording and stop the share. Does anybody want to see this picture? I can put this picture on the thread so that you can keep working on it. Let's